There. Okay, we got it.
Wow. David. Hello, David.
Hello, Art.
How you doing?
Oh, terrifically well. Whoops. I think I just lost you somewhere. Find this. Yep. Okay. I'll find this back somehow. What did I do?
I don't know. I did the same thing and got kicked off.
Well, we're going to see how we can.
Okay. Right there we go. Right there. There we go. Oh, I love technology. Okay, since it is 2:01, welcome everybody. And I will call the Riverside Transit Agency regular meeting of the Board of Directors to order at 2:01 p.m. Going to do a little bit of our normal housekeeping here. So I would like to thank you for joining our meeting today on Thursday, July 22nd. Before we begin with today's business, please ensure that you are in a quiet environment with no background noise. Please mute your phone or your devices until called upon or by the chair or the clerk. To ensure that we have an organized opportunity for everyone to speak, I will call upon each group separately. When your group number is called, please announce your name, then proceed with your comments or questions, and I will ask the public to speak after the board speaks. Once called upon to speak, please unmute your devices, then speak, and then remember to mute them again. Joan, would you please read the special notice regarding COVID-19?
On March 4, 2020, Governor Newsom proclaimed a state of emergency in California as a result of the threat of COVID-19. Public gatherings are to be limited. On March 18, 2020, Governor Newsom temporarily suspended the Brown Act requirements pertaining to telephonic conferencing of local government meetings and the requirement to have at least one physical location available to the public for purposes of attending the meeting. Further, on June 11, 2021, Governor Newsom extended the temporary suspension of the Brown Act requirements through September 30, 2021. As such, RTA has opted to conduct the July 22, 2021 meeting via teleconference.
Thank you, Joan. And will you now take roll call of the members?
Alberto Sanchez, City of Banning. Ray Santos, City of Beaumont.
Here.
Linda Molina, City of Calamasa.
Present.
Jeremy Smith, City of Canyon Lake. Jim Steiner, City of Corona.
Here.
Jocelyn Yao, City of Eastville.
Here.
Linda Krupa, City of Hemet.
Here.
Brian Berkson, City of Harupa Valley. Timothy J. Sheridan, City of Lake Elsinore.
Here.
Dean Dinas, City of Menifee.
Here.
David Marquez, City of Moreno Valley.
Here.
Scott Vinton, City of Murrieta.
Here.
Ted Hoffman, City of Norco.
Here.
Malcolm Corona, City of Paris.
Here.
Chuck Condor, City of Riverside. Alonso Ledesma, City of San Jacinto.
I'm here.
Zach Schwank, City of Temecula.
Here.
Bridget Moore, City of Wildemar.
Here.
Jerry Sinsich, County of Riverside, District 1.
Here.
Karen Spiegel, County of Riverside, District 2. Andrea Mars, County of Riverside, District 3. Art Welch, County of Riverside, District 5.
Here.
Chair Krupa, you have a quorum. Participants, please remember to remute your device.
Thank you, Joan. And if you would all please stand and recite with me the Pledge of Allegiance to our nation's flag. I see a couple flags there in the background, so here we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everyone. Just a brief note on that. We had a Rotary meeting last night and we could not find a flag until we decided or saw that one of our guests had a flag on his shirt. So we brought him to the front of the room and we all pledged allegiance to his shirt flag. So you do whatever you have to find a flag, and it looks like we have several in the background of our members here this afternoon.
Next time, swing by my office. I got several.
There you go. Thank you. Okay, next item is public comments for non-agenda items. Joan, would you read the directions for the public comment?
Members of the public may address the board regarding any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. However, no action may be taken on off-agenda items unless authorized by law. Comments shall be limited to matters not listed on the agenda. Members of the public may comment on any matter listed on the agenda at the time that the board considers that matter. Each person's presentation is limited to a maximum of 3 minutes.
And have you received any requests to speak in writing?
Yes, Chair Krupa, I have received a request to speak from Keith White, who would like this comment to be read by staff.
Please do so.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, RTA board members. This past weekend, I went to a KOLA radio event on Saturday and won a cola hat. On Sunday, I went to church and had dinner with friends. I then caught the last westbound Route 29 from the Vine Street station. The driver, Maria, had not seen me in over a year due to COVID and told me that she had been thinking about me. I was wearing my KOLA hat, and she knows that I go to all the events, and she listens to KOLA as well. I made her laugh, so I made her night. When you ride RTA for a long time, your bus drivers do get to know their passengers. Thank you for your time, and be safe out there. Sincerely yours, Keith White, RTA rider and advocate.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, Mr. White, for that message. Is there anyone else on the line that has a comment on items that are not listed on our agenda? Hearing none, the public comment portion for items not listed on the agenda is now closed. And Joan, although the groups haven't changed, would you please read the board group assignments for comment?
Thank you, Chair Krupa. Group 1, Alberto Sanchez, Ray Santos, Linda Molina, Bridget Moore, and Alonso Ledesma. Group 2, Jeremy Smith, Jim Steiner, Timothy J. Sheridan, Dean Dinas, Scott Vinton, and Zach Schwank. Group 3, Jocelyn Yao, Brian Bergson, David Marquez, Ted Hoffman, Malcolm Corona, and Chuck Conder. Group 4, Karen Spiegel, Jerry Sinsich, Andrea Mars, and Art Welch.
Thank you very much. Okay, up next is the legislative report. That will be given by Mr. David Church from Washington. And David, it is so good to see you again. This is one of the perks of hybrid meetings or of virtual meetings, is that we actually get to see you. So please go ahead.
I only wish I was in California this afternoon, although I will say first, greetings directly from Capitol Hill in Washington. It is a beautiful day in Washington. The temperature is in the mid 80s. It is clear, very low humidity. All the smoke from the fires disappeared overnight. It'll be back tomorrow, but it's a nice day today. I asked for some time today because I thought I had a great deal to report to you about progress on the infrastructure bill or bills. Let me sum it up by saying yesterday, the Senate agreed not to discuss a bill that doesn't exist. And then Leader Schumer decided that he would vote against his own motion in order to be supported of it. Whoops, something's jumping in. In any event, that makes perfect sense in Washington, and it makes perfect sense to us. Although I will say, I attempted to explain to my dear sainted mother for hours why you would vote against your own motion so that you could in fact show support about it. If any of you really has a question about those procedures, give me a call, but do keep about 20 to 25 minutes free time so we can explain it in detail. Where I had hoped to be able to talk to you in depth about the infrastructure bill. What you've been reading in the papers is, and I think on the news, it would lead you with the impression that there is an infrastructure bill. So far, there have been at least a half a dozen that have been floating around. Right now, that's been reduced to 3. The House has passed a bill called the Invest in America Act. The Senate Public Works Committee has passed out a bill, but remember that only dealt with surface transportation because in the Senate, jurisdiction over transportation entirely is divided between and among 4 committees. The big hang-up in the Senate really has to do with transit that affects you directly, and Senator Tomey, who is not very fond of increasing the amount of money going to transit. He thinks you got what you're entitled to have out of the COVID legislation, and he doesn't want to move very much in favor of any additional monies going to transit. That's opposed by the chair of the committee, our good friend Sherrod Brown of Ohio. We'll see what happens. And if, again, you want to know what Washington is like, of course, you know that the jurisdiction over transit for transportation in the Senate is in the Banking Committee. That makes perfect sense to us. In any event, where we started out with a half a dozen bills and dollar amounts from 300 billion to the low trillions, we're now down to 3 bills. It looks like the price tags are somewhere between 600 billion and 1.2 trillion, although I'm guessing we're going to be just south of the 1 trillion mark when we see the final bill that's passed. We think there will be a bill passed, but we're running out of time and we're really running out of options. We hope that the president's compromise bill is the bill that goes. Senators from both sides are working on it. They'll continue to work on it through the weekend, after which the bill, once it has some language, and we don't know what the language is yet, it then has to be scored by the Congressional Budget Office. Now, CBO carries a great deal of weight because under federal regulations, the CBO numbers have to be accepted by everyone, executive branch, House, Senate. We all agree that's the number. That's what it's going to cost. That's how we're going to pay for it. It's only after we have the text we can get the CBO score. We're not there. Why does all this matter for time? The House intends to adjourn for its August recess next Friday. They will come back into session. Remember the August recess, they will come back into session on September the 17th. The FAST Act extension expires on the last day of September. we don't have much time to work on all of this stuff. In addition, we're going to be dealing with the debt limit. You're going to hear a lot about the debt limit. It talks all about how we can't spend any more money and maybe we shouldn't be spending more money. But the thing I'd like to leave with you today is that the increase in the debt limit has nothing to do with prospective spending. It has to do with spending we've already made. So I would equate it in simple terms, not perfect analogy, but in simple terms, this is like getting a credit card bill from your bank. And then you say, well, I spent too much money on the credit card, so I shouldn't pay it. Well, good luck with that one with your bank. And the same thing is pretty much true about our national financial interests. We're back into earmarks. That is a wonderful thing. I will just tell you, I'm so happy with earmarks, and all of you should be as well. I have enjoyed earmarks. And again, the thing I'd leave with you is that earmarks do not add 1 penny, not $1 to federal expenditures, just a determination of how that money is spent. So that's kind of where we are in Washington. I had hoped to give you really definitive news today about the infrastructure bill. We just don't have it. Within a week or two, I probably will. Maybe I'll ask to come out and darken your doorstep again in a month. For any of you, if you have any questions, call me, call my office at any time. We're happy to give you the update from what we know at the time. Now, that's kind of where we are.
Thank you, David. It's always interesting listening to you give reports on what's really happening in Washington instead of hearing it on the news and reading it in the paper.
Or in this case, what's not happening in Washington.
What's not happening.
Thank you.
Let me just ask one question, and this is kind of a generality about what is happening now. How often does Congress, both houses, vote on bills that have not been created yet?
I would say it's rare, and because the answer to that won't really be direct, because in Washington, unlike, in Sacramento, if you have a bill, AB 26, it means something. Mm-hmm. And in fact, you've identified programs going forward by their bill number. SB 2 means something to Californians. Numbers mean nothing in Washington. So I have watched the same bill have 3, 4, 5 different numbers in a day. And sometimes the original intent of a bill that keeps the same number will be entirely stricken. The way that happens is the motion is to strike all after the enacting clause and insert thereof, and it's an entirely new bill. So the answer is, I think that there's never been a text, but see, we do have text here. We could talk a little bit about the Investment in America Act. We could be talking about the bill that's come out of the Public Works Committee in the Senate. It's just that the bill we think we're going to be talking about in the end doesn't yet exist. Now, was that just enough obfuscation to do? I mean, this is Washington, folks.
Washington, yeah. No, that was a perfect answer coming from Washington.
Thank you. Bless you, my sainted daughter.
Thank you, David. Okay, are there any questions or comments from group 1? Group 2? Group 3? And group 4? Okay, I think you've made it clear as mud. We know what's happening in Washington. We appreciate your time and your expertise. And if something really positive and solid comes out of Washington, please let us know.
We'll let you know right away. Thank you much for listening to me.
All righty. Thank you so much, David. Really appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, let's move on to item number 6, which is the approval of minutes of the June 24th board meeting. Does anyone have any comments on the minutes?
Move to approve, Spiegel.
Okay, we have a motion to approve and a second. Are there any abstentions? Oops, excuse me. Are there any noes? Are there any abstentions? That motion passes. And Joan, did you get the motion and the second on that?
I did, yes, thank you, Chair.
All righty, thank you. Okay, moving on, item number 7 is the consent calendar. All items will be approved by one motion, and there will be no discussion on individual items unless a board member or member of the public requests a specific item to be pulled from the calendar. Do any board members from Group 1 wish to pull anything from the consent calendar? Group 2? Group 3? Group 4? Is there any member of the public that wishes to pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Approval.
Okay, there is a motion and a second. Are there any noes? Any abstentions? That motion passes. Thank you so much. And let me turn my pages here. Here we go. Item number 8 is authorization to award agreement number 21-007 to GenFair for the development and implementation of the agency's mobile ticketing application. Natalie Zaragoza will present. Natalie?
Thank you, and good afternoon, Mr. Cooper. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Natalie Zaragoza, and I'm the agency's Chief Procurement and Logistics Officer. With this item, staff is requesting authorization to award agreement number 21-007 to GenFair for the agency's mobile ticketing app. The 5-year agreement will include the development, installation, and implementation of required hardware and ongoing transaction fees for a software app utilizing a MAAS or MAS platform. More on that in a minute. As you may remember, the agency awarded a contract to Token Transit in November of 2018 for a mobile ticketing app. The app was first put into use with a demonstration program for the agency's College Pass program. It then went live to the general public in September of 2019. Since that time, the agency has experienced a variety of ongoing issues with the app, and while agency staff has worked closely with Token Transit to work through solutions, overall, the experience with the app was not what the agency staff had anticipated. Further, the number of customers using the app was less than anticipated, even prior to last year's COVID shutdown. Most importantly, staff was concerned that agency customers weren't getting the benefits originally envisioned, and that mobile ticketing technology was rapidly expanding to create new possibilities not offered on the agency's current app. Excuse me. The technology that supports mobile ticketing applications had advanced significantly, evolving into Mobility as a Service, or MAAS MAS. MAS is an on-demand, real-time platform that provides a multifunctional app to support not only the payment of transit fares through mobile devices, but also includes opportunities for many other functions, such as trip planning, real-time bus arrival, and the means to combine other transportation options, such as bike sharing, transportation services, and connections to public transit. After consideration and internal discussion, staff chose to issue a request for proposals to evaluate if moving to a MOS-type system would be beneficial. On February 4, 2021, the RFP was issued, and on March 2nd, 11 proposals were received. A list of those firms is on page 58 of today's agenda. As stated in today's agenda item, procurement used the formal competitive process, also called a request for proposals, as required by Federal Transit Administration guidelines that are set forth in FTA Circular 4220.1F, as well as the guidance provided through the FTA's Best Practice Procurement Manual. It should be noted that the request for proposals, or RFP process, is principally distinguished by the use of evaluation criteria, whereas an invitation for bid, or IFB, uses price only as the only consideration. The RFP process requires an evaluation based on predetermined criteria that are established by staff and that are seen as critical to the success of the project. These criteria are identified within the procurement documents that are sent to prospective proposing firms. Staff members evaluate the technical proposals independently of one another. At the conclusion of the review, the technical and pricing scores are compiled by procurement staff, and the results are shared with the committee members. Based upon guidance from the FTA's Best Practices Procurement Manual, the evaluation committee members established a competitive range, and here, the 4 highest-ranked firms within that competitive range were invited for virtual interviews and product demonstrations. At the conclusion of the interviews and product demonstrations, best and final offers were requested from those firms, and the results are on page 60 of today's agenda. After a thorough review of proposals, cost proposals, interviews, and product demonstrations, the committee chose Genfair as the most responsible and responsive vendor for the agency's project. The committee excluded Zed Digital from final consideration based on several factors. The firm was established in 1996 and is a division of a deep web search company. They have minimal transit experience, and they have only 6 mobile ticketing solutions similar in nature to the agency's project. 4 of those are U.S. transit clients, and 2 of them are international university projects. Zed Digital has also been a subcontractor to both Enit and Cuba on similar projects. While Genfair had the second lowest pricing, they did have the highest overall ranking. Genfair in its current corporate form was established in 1980, but there were predecessor companies in the fare collection business that go all the way back to 1880. These firms were later merged into the company that is now known today as Genfair. Genfair currently has 18 U.S. transit clients for its Mobilelink ticketing solution, 10 of which are completed and 8 of which are in process. The initial deployment of the Mobilelink app will consist of ticket purchasing using a mobile device, trip planning, real-time arrival info, and agency service alerts, which will be the same as those displayed at the agency's major transit hub on the ATIS or Automated Traveler Information signs. Mobilelink will also allow for fare capping, which is a pay-as-you-go process, or for instance, the entire price of a monthly pass is not required upfront. With the Mobilelink app, a new customer can plan their trip and purchase a ticket within the same app. Customers will be able to manage their accounts with an intuitive interface based on familiar design best practices, which also means that new users of all technical capabilities can typically download the app and use it with no training or help desk support. A customer who buys a new mobile device can easily transfer their existing passes to the new device without losing any of their purchase tickets. Purchase tickets can also be activated and used when cellular service is not available. The app supports English and Spanish languages, is ADA compliant, and utilizes audible and visual verifications on the onboard validator. Staff will also provide outreach to local community groups to ensure a smooth transition from our current ticketing app to the new one. As described on page 61 of today's agenda, the Genfair Mobilelink app uses a process called tokenization to protect sensitive personal data by ensuring credit card information is never exposed to agency employees or Genfair staff. Finally, there are significant upgrade possibilities for expansion of the app. An account-based smart card system and onboard credit card use are 2 examples of potential future upgrades. The Mobilelink app will be deployed with the basic architecture necessary to support expansion to these upgrades. The various software modules simply need to be pushed out to the onboard validator to enable credit card use onboard the vehicle. Upon award, it is a 6-month process to design the app. The goal is to be ready for the spring school term in January of 2022. Within this 6-month period will also be a 40 to 60-day period where the current token transit app and the new Mobilelink app will be running in parallel. Upon the conclusion of this testing period, the Mobilelink app will go live to the general public in time to accommodate the transition to new school passes for the spring school term. The total amount of the 5-year agreement with Genfair will be $823,882. This amount includes the equipment, installation, implementation, licensing, and support costs in the amount of $606,382. Genfair will also be paid processing fees of 5.5% of the total charges that are processed through the app, plus 5 cents per transaction. Based on estimated sales through the app, the total 5-year processing fees that are estimated to be paid will be $217,500. These costs will be funded through a combination of FTA Section 5307, State Transit Assistance, and Low Carbon Transit Ops Program, or LCTOP funds, as detailed on page 62 of today's agenda. This item was heard at the July 7th Budget and Finance Committee, who unanimously approved and recommended this item to the full Board of Directors for their consideration. Therefore, the item before you today is as follows. Authorize staff to award agreement number 21-007 to Genfair for the development and implementation of the agency's mobile ticketing app for a not to exceed amount of $823,882 for the 5-year period. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Natalie. Very, very thorough report. Are there any questions or comments from Group 1? Group 2?
Yes, please, Madam Chair.
Yes, go ahead, Scott.
Thank you. Thank you, Natalie. Just quick question. Based on the fact we had so many problems before and that Genfair is just now developing this system, are we pretty confident that we're not going to fall into the same issues that we had previously?
Thank you, Director, for that question. Yes, I believe the committee was sufficiently had confidence in Genfair, and it will be quite a different application. It's a different firm that will be providing the new one.
Okay, thank you. And then is there no need for any contingency because they're getting paid based on the use of it?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite hear that. Could you repeat that, Director?
Yeah, I beg your pardon. So is there no need for any contingency on this simply for the fact that they're getting paid based on, price per use of the app?
Correct. There is no need for contingency on this particular item.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for the report.
Thank you, Scott. Anyone else from Group 2? Group 3? David?
Might help if I mute myself.
Yes.
Natalie, thank you for the presentation. I do got one question, and maybe I didn't hear it, but the answer. Question is, will there be a performance assurance included in this contract to ensure proper function of the new app? It's a 5-year contract. At any time during the 5 years, are we assured that when, again, like Scott mentioned, it's not going to have a reoccurrence, but in the contract, are we assured on their performance?
Thank you for that question, Director. Yes, it will be, we always have our legal remedies within the contract that we can always take advantage of if we have to get to that point. Obviously, before that, we don't want to do that. We will have project milestones. We'll be adhering and managing those milestones, and we'll be going from there. If we don't achieve milestones, then we can always withhold payments and do other things to ensure, again, that the agency is getting what it paid for, or what it is paying for, and doesn't pay for what it does not get.
Thank you, Natalie.
Okay, thank you, David. Anyone else from Group 3? Group 4?
Yes, Madam Chair, I have 2 questions.
Yes, Jerry.
The first one is, given this app and platform, will this supersede our current Riverside Transit Bus Watch app?
Thank you, Director. I think Jim can give us a little help with that question.
Thank you, Natalie. Director Sinchich, yes, actually, it will complement them very closely. This mobile ticketing application has a built-in feature very similar to Bus Watch, which will provide real-time arrival and trip planning. So at some point, it will function very much like Bus Watch, but also have the mobile ticketing feature.
Okay. No, thank you for that. My second question, just to follow up on that while we have Jim there, and that is, will we be able to gain any marketing information with this new app with regard to our ridership and the demographics associated with our ridership?
Well, Director Sinchich, yes, well, the ridership data is there. When a customer signs up for a pass or signs up for the mobile ticketing, they are not required, and I don't intend to ask for gender, age, because that's obviously private information.
Sure.
We will be able to reach those customers if we want to target information, but I won't know specific information like that.
Okay.
We will know where they travel, how often they travel, what types of passes they buy, which is valuable to us. So if I want to get a message to commuters that ride CommuterLink, I'll have that information. Does that answer your question, Director Sinchich?
Yes, it does. I was more concerned with, does it allow us opportunity to communicate with our riders with any kind of new information or new data? So thank you. That answers my question.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Anyone else from Group 4? Okay, and I know we talked about this in budget and finance that, and Jim, you can, if you would elaborate on this, like we did when we had the first app, in that there was a definite outreach to our customers who are visually and or hearing impaired, to make sure that the app is sufficient to cover their needs.
Yes, Chair Krupa, and thank you for bringing that up again. That will be my first test market, if you will. We always do a pilot. We'll roll out to a few customers, but I do have contacts in the disabled community, primarily the visually impaired and the hearing impaired, who we will provide this app to, put passes on there and tell them to go out and test it. That was very successful with the previous app, and that was a great suggestion, Chair Krupa. So that will be our first outreach to that group, as well as probably a few students. And then from there, we'll just slowly beef up the pilot program. The beauty of the company that Natalie has brought to us is they're experts in this industry. They've been doing it for years. So there's very little unknown. But to your point, Chair Krupa, yes, we will reach out to that community. And that's the first community I will reach out to.
Thank you very much, Jim. Appreciate that. Joan, have you received any requests to speak in writing?
Yes, Chair Krupa, I received a comment from Keith White, who asked it be read by staff.
And please do that.
Yes, thank you. Good afternoon, RTA board members. I use Token Transit, but I was not happy with this Token Transit app. I had too many problems with it. I am in support of the new mobile app with GenFare. I would like to see all real-time bus arrivals and also to purchase all passes all in one app. Please pass this item. Thank you for your time. Sincerely yours, Keith White.
Thank you, Joan, and thank you, Mr. White. Is there anyone else on the line that would like to make a comment on this item? Hearing no one else on the line to make a comment, do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this item as presented. Are there any noes? Are there any abstentions? Hearing none, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. The next item is authorization to award agreement number 21-003 to Xeon Systems Sales Incorporated, DBA Safe Fleet, to install and configure replacement network video recordings on 145 Gillig buses. Natalie, you are up again.
Again, Chair Krupa, members of the committee. This item is a request for authorization to award agreement number 21-003 to Xeon Systems Sales Common Inc. to install and configure replacement network video recorders, or NVRs, on the agency's 145 Gillig vehicles. The onboard video surveillance systems on the agency's Gillig fleet have proven to be invaluable over the years. Staff can use recorded events to contest and mitigate onboard accident claims, support statements made by coach operators about events that occur on board, and generally provide video evidence when needed. It may also deter unwanted behaviors such as graffiti inside the bus and vandalism. Because customers know they are being recorded, there are signs on the bus, and they know this. Over the past year, during the COVID pandemic, these recorders were once again a valuable source of information for close contact tracing teams to use to identify exposure to potential and confirm COVID-19 cases. The NVRs are a part of the onboard video surveillance system and have reached the end of their useful life. The older models that came on Gillig vehicles that were first delivered to the agency are no longer supported. Staff made the decision to upgrade all of the existing NVRs and software to a system using the latest technology. It should be noted that the smaller contractor vehicles, for both fixed route and dial-a-ride, also have onboard video surveillance systems. However, these vehicles are replaced more frequently than the 40-foot vehicles and were not included in this procurement, as they are all running the most current version of the Xeon Safe Fleet software. On March 3, staff issued RFP number 21-003, and on April 22nd, the agency received 2 proposals from Xeon Systems, Inc., who does business as Safe Fleet, and Luminator Technology. An evaluation team of purchasing, maintenance, operations, information technology, and risk staff evaluated those proposals. Both firms were invited for virtual interviews and product demonstrations, specifically demonstrations of their software and network video recorder systems. At the conclusion of the interviews, best and final offers were requested from both firms, and those numbers are shown on page 64 of today's agenda. Based on the above technical evaluation, product demonstrations, and best and final offer pricing, the evaluation committee is recommending an award to Seon Systems, Inc. as the most technically responsive and responsible vendor, providing the best value to the agency. On page 65, the funding to be utilized on this project is California SB1 State of Good Repair Fund. Staff also recommends a 5% contingency, or $28,566.66, be added to the project budget for use in the event of unforeseen circumstances. As always, such use would be subject to a change order or amendment to the proposed agreement. This item was heard at the July 7 Budget and Finance Committee, who unanimously approved and recommended this item to the full Board of Directors for their consideration. Therefore, the item before you today is as follows. Authorize staff to award agreement number 21-003 to Seon Systems Sales, Inc. to install and configure replacement network video recorders on 145 Gillig buses in the amount of $571,333.25 with a 5% contingency of the $28,566.66 for a total project budget of $599,899.91. Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Okay, are there any questions from group one? Group two? Group three? Group four? Okay, Joan, do you have any requests to speak in writing?
Chair Krupa, I have not.
Okay, is there anyone on the line that would like to make a public comment on this item? Okay, hearing none, do I have a motion to approve?
Jacinto makes motion.
San Jacinto. Okay, and Calamasa second. Are there any no's?
Calamasa second. Yes,
I'm sorry. Who had the second?
Calamasa.
Calamasa, that's okay, thank you. Are there any no's? Are there any abstentions? Okay, that motion passes unanimously. Thank you very much. On to item 10, the fiscal year 2020 Low Carbon Transit Operations Program, Fee Fares for Youth and College Students Program Quarterly Update. Kristen Morsinski will give us that update. Kristen, it's all yours.
Thank you, Chair Krupa, members of the board. My name is Kristen Morsinski, and I'm the Director of Planning. On April 23rd, 2020, the RTA Board of Directors unanimously approved the filing of the FY20 LC top application in the amount of $2,589,270 for the Free Fares for Youth and College Students program. This program was originally scheduled to run from August 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021. With low ridership due to the COVID-19 pandemic, staff recommended and the board approved extending the program to July 2022 at the February 25th board meeting for this year. From the start of the program on August 1st, 2020 through June 30th, 2021, the agency has provided a total of 175,080 free rides to youth and college students. Of the $2.5 million in LC Top grant funds awarded, $306,390 has been expended, which leaves us about $2.28 million available until July of 2022. Attachment A shows youth and college ridership by month. And thank you, Chair Krupa. That concludes my presentation.
Right, thank you, Kristen. Are there any questions or comments from group one? Group two? Group three? And group four? Bridget, I figured you'd make a comment on this.
I just said I like it. I'm very glad we're extending it. Thank you very much. It's a great program, and I hope this year we use up all those funds.
Exactly. It would be absolutely outstanding if we can use all of this money by July of 2022. So, all right. Thank you, Kristen, and thank you, Bridget, for those comments. And Joan, have you received any requests to speak in writing on this item?
Chair Krupa, I have not.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone on the line that wants to make a comment on this? Hearing none, that item is received and filed. The next item is our bus stop strategic policy program update. Kristen, you're back on.
Thank you, Chair Krupa. Can everybody see the presentation?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Thank you. The item before you today is just an update on the bus stop strategic policy. There's a very brief presentation that I'll run through with you. I'm going to start by reviewing the policy itself for the benefit of new board members who are on the call today. And then I'll go into what improvements we've completed recently and what is in store for fiscal year 2022. So as a brief introduction, RTA receives numerous requests for bus stop upgrades each year. Our large service area that covers 22 member jurisdictions has over 2,500 bus stops, As you can imagine, it leads to complicated questions of where to install shelters and benches. In 2015, the bus stop strategic policy was approved by the board and implemented to ensure fair and equitable distribution of these amenities. And the bus stop strategic policy aims to do two different things. One is to maximize the benefit. So put amenities at the busiest stops so that the highest number of riders will benefit from their installation. And then the second one is to ensure equitable distribution. We want to make sure that geographically we are spreading these out by city and county district, and also want to make sure that socially we're installing them where special needs are, such as schools, medical centers, lifeline services, and other trip generators. Yearly, we allocate amenities based on funding, and those are approved during the short-range transit plan and budget process. We aim to provide around 20 to 25 stops per year that we upgrade, and a maximum of 15% of new amenities will go to any one jurisdiction based on the policy. This is a sample of the stats that we look at. So we have a software that tracks boardings and alightings, or ons and offs of the buses per stop. So we can actually see how many people are utilizing any stop within the system in a given day. So we use this data and we look at stops that don't have shelters, and then we rank them to form the list. The list is broken down into two tiers. So tier 1 is based on ridership. So those stops with the highest ridership are selected to qualify for improvements. Tier 2, we go to the equitable distribution. So we take the busiest bus stops in jurisdictions that were not selected under tier 1 are eligible for improvements under tier 2. We discuss each stop, and we meet with the member jurisdictions to review proposed locations. And sometimes the locations change based on requests from city staff or planning needs that we may not be aware of when we're choosing the bus stop. So we do work with your cities or with the county to make sure that they're on board and that the stop that we're improving is approved by them, and then whatever property owners may be nearby, we also let them know. So when we're looking at bus stops, we have to think about, is it attainable to upgrade this bus stop? So there are things that we look for, like, is there sufficient space? Can somebody walk in front of the amenity? Can a wheelchair or a mobility device disembark the bus safely and turn around and then go down the sidewalk? Is there connecting sidewalk pathways for people? Is the slope less than 2% front to back? That's an ADA requirement. And then is the city or county on board with the location that we're choosing? So those are all things that we look at. And I'm just going to run through some pictures of some of our recent upgrades for you really quickly. So this is University Village. This is on University Avenue by UCR here in Riverside. We did add 2 shelters to this location. This stop averages 1,000 boardings a day when UCR is in session. So 1 shelter didn't seem like enough, and we were able to fit 2, so we were pretty happy about that. This is Magnolia Avenue and Lincoln Street in Home Gardens, which is County of Riverside District 2. It's in the Lincoln Square, or right in front of the Lincoln Square across from the trucking school. And then we have one in Marietta Gateway, which is next to the Bank of America, and Terrace Boulevard and Alessandro Boulevard near the Rite Aid in Moreno Valley. So these are some other recent improvements. And then 2nd Street in Commerce in Beaumont across from the Walmart, and Red Hawk Parkway in Villa Rio in Temecula, which is near the Stater Brothers and the Vail Ranch Center. So this is our list of recommended improvements for fiscal year 2022. This is still a work in progress. I will say that we are pending review with the different member jurisdictions, and we're also going out and making sure that the ADA requirements and spacing and sidewalks and all of that stuff is good, or see what civil work we might need to do to make it accessible. So it is still in the works. Typically we bid these out in groups of about 10, and usually those bids come to the board for approval. So you will see the exact locations down the road when the construction contracts are happening. But this is the proposed list. And that actually concludes my update today. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Kristen. Are there any questions or comments from group 1? Group 2? Group 3?
Madam Chairman, I do have one regarding, this is Ted Hoffman from Norco.
Yes, go ahead.
On that list, if we can, the cities could get that out when it's done. And the reason I say that is we have some of our builders and the developers that want to put in new projects. We can throw that on as part of a development agreement to get them to pay for it if they want to put up something like that. This just would help out some of the cost. So if we can get a list out, and that would help us out.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure to get your city staff a copy of the policy and also the bus stop guidelines that tell exactly what we're looking for when it comes to building a stop.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
All righty. Thank you, Ted. Anyone else from group 3? Group 4?
Yes, Madam Chair, just one quick question.
Yes.
And when is the projected start time for placement of these new amenities?
So the first 10, we're working through with the cities, exactly making sure that they're good with everything. I believe we have a couple of cities left that we're finalizing things with, and then the first 10 should be going out to bid in the next month or two. So that will be the first 10, and then the second 10 would probably go sometime after the first of the year.
Thank you, Kristen. Appreciate the information.
Okay, thank you, Jerry. Anyone else in group 4? Okay, Joan, have you received any requests to speak in writing?
Yes, Rupa, I have not.
Okay, is there anyone on the line that would like to make a comment on this item? Okay, hearing none, that is an update that is received. And let's see. Right now, I don't think either one of these people are here, but RTA Board of Directors would like to wish a happy birthday to Michelle Diamond and to Supervisor Jeff Hewitt. I hope they have had great birthdays and hopefully very good birth months. So thank you very much. And before I ask for board member comments, I'd just like to take a moment to recognize 2 long-term RTA coach operators. So we have the greatest drivers in the nation, and there's no doubt that these 2 drivers are the best of the best. Albert and Lorraine Haro have been with RTA for a combined 74 years.
Oh,
That's right, Art. They are both retiring in August, and I want to take a moment to celebrate their accomplishments since we will not be meeting in August. No RTA employee has been around as long as Albert Haro, In fact, Albert was driving RTA's first buses when we began service back in 1977. Back then, Albert was a young driver, just one of a handful of employees working at RTA to build momentum, gain customers, and make a name for ourselves. While RTA has certainly made a name for itself over the years, so too has our most senior driver. Over the past 44 years, Albert has reached an agency record of 40 years of safe driving and 0 preventable accidents. That's not easy when you are behind the wheel of a 40-foot bus that has to navigate traffic, construction, and all kinds of unexpected obstacles every day. By Albert's account, he has driven around the world 10 times in a bus. Congratulations. Not only is Albert a safe driver, he's also reliable. His perfect attendance has been the stuff of legend. He's always been someone that we can count on and a great representative of the agency on the streets. His wife, Lorraine, joined RTA back in 1990 and has racked up 30 years of safe driving. Again, no small feat considering the challenges she faces every day. A friendly face behind the wheel, Lorraine has always been a favorite among our customers. She never hesitates to go the extra mile for her customers, help them with directions, and welcomes them with a smile. In addition to the work she does on the streets, Lorraine serves as a mentor and role model for new and experienced drivers alike. Lorraine has been commended countless times for her extraordinary professionalism and commitment to service. RTA salutes Albert and Lorraine for their commitment to safety on the streets, the years of exceptional service, and for making RTA the best it can be. Thank you for all you have done for RTA, and enjoy your retirement. Congratulations from the Board of Directors. Job well done.
Thank you.
Would either one of you like to say something?
Oh, no, I was just wondering if we can have the day off tomorrow also, though, for
The rest of the week.
we can go to San Diego and take a little vacation.
You'll have to clear that with Mr. Rubio.
Of course.
There you go. Lorraine, would you like to
Thank
say?
you all. I want to thank everybody here at RTA. We've made so many wonderful friends. We're just reminiscing with some of the drivers about everyone that's come and gone and that we've met over the last 30, 40 years. And thank you to the board and thank you to all the administration for making our job so easy. And we're proud to be a part of Riverside and a part of this company. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lorraine, and thank you, Albert. And again, enjoy your retirement and thank you for all your dedicated years of service to RTA. It's appreciated.
Thank you.
both.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. And with that, we'll go on to board comments. Whoops, I can't get out of there. Okay, anyone from group 1 wish to make a comment?
Yes, this
Go
is
ahead.
Linda. You know me, I always want to say something. Super congrats to Lorraine and Albert on their retirement. They are the face of RTA and make us so proud. And on a sad note, the passing of Jerry Lewis. He was in service when I first came to Calamasa, was very helpful to me personally, and always such a nice gentleman. Always wanted to be called Jerry. I just wanted to acknowledge his passing. He was a wonderful legislator. Thank you. And everybody have a nice summer.
Thank you, Linda. Anyone else from group
Yes.
1?
Sure.
Bridget?
Yes.
Yes.
Also, congratulations to Albert and Lorraine. That is just amazing. What a record and what a legacy they left to RTA. Also, thank you, Larry, and your beautiful wife, Clara, for coming to our city birthday party that we had. Wildemar turned 13, so thank you for making the trek over to our party. Sorry, I was so busy, I barely got to even say hi, but thank you for coming out.
Very good. Anyone else in group one? Group two? We have Jeremy Smith. I think Jeremy's been having internet trouble today. He's kind of in and out. Jim Steiner.
Nothing for me, Chair.
Timothy Sheridan.
No, nothing for me either. Thank you.
Okay. Dean Dennis.
Nothing, thank you.
Scott Vinton.
Nothing today, thank you.
We're a quiet group. Zach Schwank.
Nothing today, Madam Chair.
Okay. Group three, we have Jocelyn Yao, Brian Berkson, David Marquez. No, Ted Hoffman.
Well, I'm just gonna, good old Norco boys, yes.
There you go.
We're gonna be celebrating the National Day of the American Cowboy on Saturday. So if you want to don your hat and join the rest of us Norconians out there, it's the only rodeo you're gonna have in Southern California this year. So we're gonna have a ranch rodeo out there on Saturday night in Norco.
Very
You're
good.
all welcome for that $10 admission fee. We'll take you.
There you go.
What
you.
time?
Yeah, what time?
Starts at 5 o'clock for pre-events, and then the rodeo starts at 7:30. And it's
Very
under the cover, in the shade, and it's lit up. So we're good.
There you go. Very good. Thanks, Ted. Malcolm Corona.
I don't have anything today, thank you.
Okay, thank you. And Chuck Condor, I don't think he is on today, but when he comes to the next meeting, we will welcome him as a new board member, replacing Andy Melendrez. Any group comments from group four? Yes, Andrea.
Hi, I just on Michelle's behalf wanted to thank you for the birthday wishes, and I will be sure to pass them along to her. I know that she's been really appreciative of all that she's received this past week or 2 weeks has it been since her birthday. So yeah, we are having a long-term celebration over here.
Thank you. Anyone else in group four? Okie doke. Larry, do you have any announcements?
Sure, group, I have a couple. Route and scheduling changes are coming August 15th to RTA. Our fall service change will come a month early this year. The changes will include more morning and evening trips, increased frequencies, and enhanced connections with other routes and Metrolink trains. Kristen has modified our service deployment, and we're adding 149 trips to service. So that's a good restart to try and meet the students that are coming back to school this fall. The Canyon Crest project update, the 6 new bus bays and shelters at UC Riverside is about at the halfway point, and it's expected to wrap up in time for the start of the school year in September. On Labor Day, Monday, September 6th, buses will not operate. The customer information center and our administrative offices will be closed. We'll resume normal service on Tuesday, September 7th. Past Chair Moore, thank you for the invitation. It was great celebrating the birthday. I went to the celebration of your birthday, but I stayed there for the chocolate milk. It was a great time. Chair Moore, that concludes my announcements.
All righty, thank you. Okay, our next meeting is actually scheduled for September 23rd of 2021. We are dark in August, so you have some time off. And with that, we are going to be going into closed session. And Barbara, do you want to announce the 2 items that we are going to discuss in closed session?
Yes, thank you, Chair Krupa. The board will be going into closed session under Government Code Section 54957A, threat to public services or facilities. And there will be a consultation with Chief Technology Officer Rick Kaczorowski. Sorry, Rick, I did my best. And then the second closed session item will be held pursuant to Government Code Section 54957.6 to discuss the collective bargaining agreement negotiations with ATU Local 1277.
Okey doke. And with that, if you will take us into closed session, we will join the breakout room. And I'm going to step away and close my door.
Let's do it.
Just double check for me, no one's in there that doesn't belong.
Rick, are you there?
I think we're at fire now. Oh, it's just a lot.
Yeah. I got bounced off and I can't get back on. They're in closed session. Why? I'd love to say yes, but I can go.
Files. Crazy, huh?
Where is he?
Firestone.
What happened?
I think it's flooded.
Oh, no, my battery died and so I got bumped off and they were in closed session, so I got let back into the one room, but not to the closed session. And it's actually, I'm kind of bummed, but it was, oops.
Okay, we are back in open session at 3:35 PM. And Barbara, would you please report out of session?
Yes, thank you, Chair Krupa. The board has met in closed session on the two items listed on page 5 of the July 22nd, 2021 agenda, and no reportable action was taken at this time.
Okay, thank you very much. And just a reminder, we are dark in August, so enjoy your time away. And we are scheduled for a September 23rd meeting. And we will decide how that's going to go forward when we get closer to that point. But right now, the July 22nd meeting is adjourned at 3:36 PM. Thank you all for being here and putting in the time, and have a good month of August. We'll see you in September.
Well,
Very good.
Bye.
Thank you, Linda.
Oh.